Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Geeks and Gamers podcast. This week we've got an extra member who decided that last week he didn't want to join us. It's our American brethren from over the pond. It's Grady. Grady, say hello to everyone.
Hey guys, my name's Grady, and missed the podcast last week because I wasn't feeling very well. Xbox enthusiast, been playing Xbox since Halo, and I'm looking forward to being part of the team. The only American on here, or the only one without an accent. I'm looking forward to being part of this.
This week, first topic we are going to bring to you is the games with gold on the Xbox One. Obviously, they doubled up through April. Now, personally, I'll put my note in first. I wasn't best impressed with what they offered. So, what do you guys think?
Wasn't impressed, got no comment on it.
I was not impressed either, especially Child of Light. I do not like turn-based combat.
I actually don't care at all, so yeah.
See, I liked it because I was interested in playing Child of Light, but I didn't want to pay for it. So I kind of won on both ways. I've played about an hour of it. The artwork and the sound effects are amazing. Not sure about the gameplay, but I'm looking forward to playing a bit more of it.
Yeah, I like it also. I wanted to play Child of Light. I did the demo, thought it was pretty decent, but I didn't want to pay for it either. Now, on the 360 side, I think it's a little more impressive. I think Terraria and Black Flag are both really good games. And I never played Judgment or that Army of Two. Pretty happy with it. Now, because I wasn't interested at all in the Lego games, and I know not everybody agrees
I
with
was
that.
looking forward to the Lego, the thing that they had rumoredly announced about the Lego, but that didn't pan out. So I decided to just buy the Lego games since they're on sale at the moment.
See, I was actually more excited about the Lego games than what they announced. Well, on Xbox One anyway, I think they gave a fair amount of good games out to the 360. That said, I did try go back and play Judgment, and at times I found that it was actually practically impossible to play. Whether that was the fact that the frame rate's low and it just felt clunky because it's old, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't how I remembered it. So it sort of let me down in that sense. So I am looking forward to Black Flag, even though I've completed it before. I'm looking forward to that second half of the month. But other than that, there's not really been anything that impressive for saying it was meant to be a 100 million download celebration.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you just say before?
well, I think the games with, not the games with gold, the discount ones. It's like I wasn't really that impressed because I already bought the superheroes Lego.
Yeah.
So I was
Marvel.
Like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. I already got it.
I picked up Lego Hobbit, and contrary to what everyone's saying, I actually liked it. But the crafting system wasn't very impressed with that, but I had fun with it.
It's poop. You are probably
That's
the only
what say
person
it.
I know in the world that actually likes Lego The Hobbit.
I've got all the Hobbit, not all the Hobbit, all the Lego games, and the best one by far is still Lego Batman 2. The worst one, I'd actually have to go for Star Wars 2.
I actually hated all the Lego games, but the Marvel ones actually swung me around. I quite it.
Fair enough.
See, I have well, I suppose you could say I'm lucky because the first Lego game I really actually played fully was the Marvel one, being a Marvel fan. So, I sort of crucified that game. And then I tried to play a few others and they haven't quite felt as good. Whether that's because it's just Lego. To me, like with the Marvel one, it was sort of you're in the Marvel universe, you got all these other Marvel characters, it's like, oh, yeah. And then you come to play something like, I don't know, I've got both. I think I've got Star Wars 2 and Star Wars 3 on the 360 that I downloaded a while back on sale. And I go to play them, and even though I'm a Star Wars fan, I go,
Yeah, 'cause I tried the Lego Star Wars. I just couldn't get into it. I think I turned it off after an hour.
yeah, I was in a very similar boat.
What I'd probably
I'm a
recommend
massive
is
Star Wars fan.
try and download the DC ones, because they're all three of them are actually really good in comparison to the others.
I've got to be honest, I do want to try is it Batman 3 Beyond Gotham?
Yeah,
Very good game.
The fact that it's just got Arrow and in the pictures you can see Flash and stuff like that, obviously because I'm a big fan of those TV series at the minute, it's like I want to play it, but I'm not
I'm
paying
gonna
30
download
quid.
it now.
And
Arrow's in it.
Stephen Amell actually does the voice of Arrow in the expansion pack.
Awesome.
So they do a sort of clip of this storyline, and it's his voice through as the character. It's brilliant.
I know, that's cool.
Question: Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel.
Who cares?
I I'll be honest, right? I'm split. I'm Marvel for films, DC for TV. DC
Yes.
make the better TV, Marvel make the better films.
Agreed with you on that.
I would agree with that, but being a big Marvel fan, I am going for the Collector Corp from Marvel, or CollectorCorp.com. That's Marvel Funko Pops.
Marvel do nicer socks as well. I'm
Mm.
wearing Iron Man socks at the moment.
I've got Hulk ones on.
I've started collecting those pop vinyls. Well, I say I've started collecting. I've put my first pre-order in. I'm going for the TV version of the Flash, and I also want the TV version of the Reverse Flash with the yellow and black.
Going to watch Flash because I've just been introduced to Flash on Arrow, so I just want to finish season 2 and then watch Flash.
Flash is getting really good.
Flash is like the best show on TV. I could sit here
Can I
and talk all
actually say
night
one
about
thing?
Flash. Yes, Stale.
The only Lego game I actually did like was the first Lego Star Wars game.
You've
That
moved
was
on
actually the
from
only
Lego.
game I liked.
He's been waiting patiently.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
because
Stale.
You guys talk so much, I didn't have time to say anything.
We're British.
Just butt in at any point.
Like Dan does.
Yeah.
Dan does it all the time, so hey.
Well, I'm from Norway, so I'm polite most of it. Unlike the
He was
Americans.
Italian.
Italian.
Did somebody say he was Italian?
No, from Norway.
Kind of sounded Italian.
You make no sense.
Right, so next topic this week, it was announced actually, 2 weeks ago now, is Titanfall 2 is going to be a multi-platform.
Woohoo!
See, someone's very happy over there, though he's not playing Titanfall tonight, so he can't really speak. Yeah, so it's going multi-platform, which, let's be honest, we all knew was going to happen in the end, because personally, I don't think it took off as well as they expected on the Xbox. It was one of them games that dwindled out until map packs started getting released, especially for me anyway. But what do you guys think?
Well, I didn't think it was ever going to go well just being an exclusive, but I think Microsoft wanted to gain the interest of, want to get all the money raked in. But I think if it was more multi-platform, I think, the hype would have lived up a bit more than what it was. Because I think it got overhyped for the fact it was an exclusive to Xbox, and then it was like a bit of a letdown. Because you saw the PlayStation fans weren't that interested in Titanfall, like after they heard all the complaints from the Xbox fans. So I think, like my opinion, Titanfall 2, yeah, it might be good, but it might have a sour taste in your mouth, and might be put off for buying it.
I wasn't let down by Titanfall at all.
No, I'm saying I'm not. I like Titanfall, but I'm saying as in, because of what happened with the first Titanfall, it might have that effect on, PlayStation users.
I think more to do with media bias than anything. I think a lot of the news sites sell to PlayStation users because it's hot right now. It's selling the most. People are most interested in it. And I think that's why a lot of the interest dwindled. So I think going multi-platform will be huge for Titanfall. But I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas, things they should add to the game to make the game better, because I really liked it for what it was.
You can say that going multi-platform will help a game, but not always the case. I mean, look at Destiny and what happened there with Sony. That was overhyped, and the whole exclusive content rubbish for the PlayStation.
See, that was the issue. Was the exclusive content. Okay.
Whereas Titanfall, it was the whole game, so you've kind of taken that out of the equation. What I would love to see is Titanfall and its concept that had the multiplayer was fantastic. I truly loved that game. I gave it Game of the Year last week. So, but what I would like to see is a bit. Did anybody play MechWarrior 3?
Yes,
Nope.
I did.
Right. When going through sort of the campaign missions, at the end, your destroyed mechs that you had basically trucks that drove behind you and picked up all the destroyed mechs, and then you could salvage them and attach different parts of them onto your own mech. Now, that would be a good thing to kind of
More
incorporate
customization.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
But on a campaign side of things, because if you've got the customization and the actual multiplayer, you've got the flexibility, but then you could unlock additional things in the campaign, which could be a way to go.
Back on the Destiny versus Titanfall thing, I think Titanfall was exactly what everybody expected it to be, and I think Destiny wasn't what anyone expected it to be.
Yeah, but to be
agreed.
fair, there's Destiny's fault for hyping up on E3 and then releasing a game which was nothing like. Well, I'll say nothing, but it was back to what they showed at E3 as that game, and it was disappointing in every aspect.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, because the game was exactly what they showed at E3, not finished.
Okay.
Yeah,
Word.
But I'm saying, they're releasing. I know we're talking about Titanfall 2, but they're planning to release Destiny 2, And it's like, yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot to win me back to buying Destiny.
Whatever, you know, you'll
Whereas,
buy
like,
it. You played the
no,
hell out of that game.
200 hours, but you know, I just
Well-
haven't played it for months. But like Titanfall 2, yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, I haven't finished Titanfall 1, but I'll still buy 2. I'll make sure I actually have the season pass this time
Well,
on time.
one thing I'll say Destiny's advantage there is there's a lot more room for improvement versus Titanfall.
That's
Yep.
true.
You'll be
I mean,
surprised
it
what
had
they can do with the
pitiful
game.
loot system. I didn't think the character development was satisfying at all. The same location, same map, same mobs. It got old and it just wasn't interesting. It wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't a
Well,
good
it's
game.
it's the way Destiny advertised itself as like, oh look, we're was it first person shooter MMO, and it's like, well, the MMO aspect isn't really an MMO, as Neverwinter's proved what an MMO is for those who haven't played an MMO before.
They soon changed that though, didn't they? When they initially announced it, they said, "Oh yeah, it's going to be an MMO style game," and then they turned it into a co-op shooter. Basically,
Yeah.
they changed their mind completely. So
And thank God for co-op because otherwise it'd been completely unplayable.
yeah, like
Well,
the game
I
was
ca-
awful.
I can't play it by myself. It's like it's all right when you're in a group, but by itself it's just rubbish. It's like I play Halo by myself, but Destiny can.
That's Halo. That makes extra sense.
I had to say that after you get up to level 20 in Destiny, it gets really tedious and boring. Having to grind to get the light gear, I couldn't get past level 21, and I actually gave up and sold the game.
See, that's one thing that I think Titanfall has also got on Destiny is Titanfall over its how many updates it had 9 monthly updates since release, and every single update has brought something better to the game. I mean, you look at the game at how it started and how minimal it was, and then you look at it now and the customization options and stuff like. So Grady was talking about earlier how he doesn't see they could add any more customization to it. That has been built upon since launch. It's not something that was there at launch.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I don't think they could add customization because I think they could do that. I think the core elements of the game are really solid.
I think they
and,
could add a
I don't
story.
know what you could add to it to make it a better game than it. I mean, I
But-
really think they did a good job with the first one, and the next one's kind of like Call of Duty. And just a rewash.
Yeah, but they
Have
can
you
add a
ever played a
storyline.
game called Chrome Hounds? That was an Xbox 360 exclusive title. It was a mech game, and basically it was all built around this massive, consistent multiplayer war.
Well, I think with Titanfall 2, I think for the people who've don't have an Xbox, like the PlayStation players, they might enjoy it a lot more than what the Xbox players have, just due to the fact they haven't had the original Titanfall. Just like when Mass Effect was it Xbox exclusive before EA bought BioWare,
Yeah.
and people seem to enjoy Mass Effect 2 a lot more than Mass Effect 1 because we noticed a change from Mass Effect to Mass Effect 2, but for them, they got the second game before the first game, so to them it's a bit of a downgrade going back. So I think Titanfall 2 will do better than Titanfall 1, but for the PlayStation players rather than the Xbox.
Hard to say
I'd
because the
agree
install
with
base will be
Stefan.
larger also.
I
I don't think they'll
think
have any
probably
issue
see what-
selling it, that's for sure.
Yeah, E3 is going to be interesting to see what they're pulling out because the live action thing that they did, I thought that was brilliant.
That was
The
fantastic.
advertisement. And then there was quite a bit. The thing was the live action thing that they had for Titanfall, you could pretty much do in the game. Whereas I think the live action thing that they done with Destiny didn't really seem to match.
I would sell Destiny, but the fact I got the collector's edition for a stupid reason with my habit of, oh, it's shiny, I'm buying it. I would have sold it by now.
I
And for the
mean,
fact I
and
put
knocking
200
out
hours in it.
the DLC for an entire year from Xbox players, it's just not on, is
yeah,
it?
but to be fair, how many games have done that though? Like, how many have got timed exclusives? Like PlayStation do it, Xbox do it. So it's.
For the record, I hate timed exclusives.
I don't know. So do I. I hate it. I
I
absolutely hate
agree.
it. But they do it because wasn't it something like Bungie had a fallout with Xbox or something, and that's why they're putting the time exclusives on, just like EA had a fallout with PlayStation, so they put time exclusives on everything.
Yeah, but that's the reason that's been given. But
Yeah.
let's be honest, it's whoever flashes the more money. Even if
pretty much.
even if Bungie had a fallout with Microsoft, if Microsoft turned around to them and go, right, here's 250 million, help you put towards your game. Can you give us timed exclusives for 2 years? They'd go, yeah, straight away. It's all about the money. It's who's got the bigger wallets. And at the minute, Microsoft don't really want to pay out for much. Now, don't get me wrong, we get like the Call of Duty map packs early, which what do you do? It's about a month. I think I'm sort of in the same boat as Grady. I don't like timed exclusives. A game should be exclusive to a console or a console. Same
Agreed.
with DLC. But
Now, I can see why developers like it. If you've only
Yeah.
going to launch on one platform at a time, it makes the launch a little easier. But I don't appreciate
Well,
it.
the thing is,
Like,
it's the fact we have to pay the same price, for DLC, which we're going to get a year later. And by then, I'm not going to be playing Destiny in a year. It's
I
already
don't think any
collecting
of us
dust
will.
on my shelf. So it's like, well, what's the point? We got like half the DLC. Yeah, I don't have to pay for it because I had the season pass with the collector's edition. But it's, I feel sorry for the people who actually go out and buy buy the DLC for the same price what someone's going to get with their PlayStation for, included. And whilst the people have to wait, and in the end, game companies doing that, they're just punishing the fans rather than the company behind the console.
very true. Next topic this week, we're going to be talking about a recent thing that's come to light where schools in both America and here in the UK have decided that they're going to start reporting parents for allowing their children to play 18 rated games. Now, personally, I don't think that's got anything to do with anything, but what do you guys sort of think on the subject?
I think it's wrong.
See, it
I agree.
depends.
I'm gonna have a massive rant, so I'll let you all
I,
talk first.
I couldn't help it.
The thing, right, I can understand teenagers absolutely fine, because by that point there's different aspects. But I think within the UK at least, what they're looking at is parents who are allowing primary school children, so we're talking ages 4 to 12, getting to play 18s. Which, would you let them watch a film that's 18?
Probably not.
And overall, I've got an 8-year-old daughter. I don't want her sitting playing Grand Theft Auto.
Fair enough, yeah.
See, that I said that as well. I myself wouldn't allow my kids are 3 and 4. I certainly wouldn't allow them to be playing, Grand Theft Auto, like you said, or even certain games like Gears that can be quite gory. I mean, don't get me wrong, I used to play it when they were young and they'd be in the room, but at one point it actually made my eldest, that was what caused a nightmare with him one night. So that was a point where I went, okay, it needs to stop now. I need to sort of tone down the games during the day and watch I'm playing.
Yeah.
So since then, it's mainly, if I'm honest, my youngest comes in, he goes, Xbox, driving game, Xbox. So he always, I mean, that's the new Fast and Furious game, but so it's sort of, I've toned down, but I completely agree. I don't think kids should be allowed to play 18 rated games. So I'd have to say, I think, your child needs to be old enough and responsible enough to understand that this is fantasy, it's not real life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still don't think that the press give it bad media all the time. Or this kid stabbed his mother 47 times in the head with a rusty spoon. Oh my God, he plays Call of Duty. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah, that's more of the problem than the actual games and things like that. Because everybody's impressionable to everything in a way. Everything will affect you differently, but what you've got to think is, what's the difference? And here's another thing: 18 rated game. I'm 17 on the 20th of October. I'm not allowed to buy it or play it according to the school regulations. But the day after, I'm a completely different person.
I'm gonna have a massive rant now.
On you go.
I can't hold it in any longer. The thing is, the modern day society we're in now, we have violence in the media, news, blah blah blah. I grew up in Saudi Arabia and have seen a terrorist attack, and to me, video games is showing you what real life is like, but in a safer environment. It's it's not I personally, I mean, I used to watch bloody 18 movies when I was a kid. No, but it doesn't like mess me up. It's we got loads of violence going on in the real world, which what's that's on the news, and you don't censorship the news, and you hear about mass murders, gun shootings out in America, and to me, what's different between seeing that on the TV screen or beheading videos on Facebook compared to a video game? Like, to me, there's no difference between the two. If the violence is going to be there, then why not have it in a controlled environment rather than somewhere where you can't control it?
If anything, I'd say video games are actually more controlled about the violence they show.
Exactly.
Granted, don't get me wrong, like going back to the GTA example, it feels like we all hate GTA, which I'd just like to clear up. We all really like GTA.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
we're
yes.
just using it as the
Yeah.
scapegoat here because it is
I'm gonna
probably.
stop there for a second. I didn't actually care for it too much. Go on.
Okay,
Okay, that's
so
1 out
we're
of
going to
5.
edit that bit out later, but yeah. So we're just going to use it as a scapegoat in this instance because it is probably the worst game out there under an
Actually,
18 banner.
I disagree with that.
Manhunt, because I think someone murdered someone, and the police found Manhunt in the room, and the kid said, "Oh yeah, I learned how to kill someone from Manhunt," and then it turned out that the kid actually never played Manhunt in his life.
He's using it
I don't have any
incidentally.
kids, but if I had a 5-year-old, he wouldn't be playing Grand Theft Auto, but he also wouldn't be watching violent television. You know what I mean? It's just a shame that people don't have to get a license before they have kids, and the government's trying to take on this role to tell us how to raise our kids because people are so irresponsible.
The
You can't
government should
fix
have
stupid.
less control over people. I think the best parents are the ones who know how to raise their kids and don't need an external influence, such as the government, telling you this is how you raise your kid, and if you don't raise them in this certain way, they're going to have to go to care, and care is not going to be a good place to go for a kid because it can screw them up.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to have a little rant here myself, if you don't mind.
I do mind, in fact, Dan. On you go.
Just carry on, ignore him. We all do.
All right, so
Right, okay, rant over
like
next.
Luke and Stefan, like Luke and Paul and Steph and Grady have all been saying, the government like to blow up, the danger of video games in our modern society and the impressionable minds of young people. But really, when they say that, what they're really covering up is their failings and shortcomings to deal with situations before they happen. Like, take the Columbine massacre shootings. Those two, the two people that perpetrated the attacks, they both suffered from mental issues, both bullied, and they both had violent tendencies. So when they lashed out and, killed everyone in Columbine High School, the police, of course, had to find a scapegoat for what they could put the blame on. And, of course, it had to go to video games. And I think they've been blaming video games for far too long. Have you ever heard of Jack Thompson?
Yeah.
I have.
Yes, that guy, he basically tried to have EA removed from store shelves, and he was actually successful with GTA San Andreas after the hot coffee mod. But in the end, he actually got himself barred for, basically he got barred because he was being unlawful and misconduct in the court. And I feel that the government they're blaming video games far too much. Like, it's time for them to move on and get over it, because video games, they've been here for what, like past 30 years. There were shootings and killings before video games came along, and I just think now that it's a new thing, they think they can blame it all on video games.
Well,
So,
I think in America, because they have, Grady, correct me if I'm wrong, but not everyone
Boy.
can own a gun. Is it 18 can get your license for a gun?
I don't know specifics, but you do have to apply for a permit
Yeah.
to carry a handgun.
But because are they meant to be locked up securely?
Well, that's encouraged, but it's not required.
Mental health.
They don't go in your house and check that stuff.
Do you
But
have
on
to have a
Dan's
mental
point,
health check?
There is a background check, stuff like that, but
Yeah, because
I can assure you that it's not all that difficult to acquire a firearm. And if you haven't done anything prior, that doesn't mean you won't do anything later.
Yeah,
But trying to anticipate a person's actions in the future, who's qualified to make that decision?
Oh, I
If you
know.
look at
I know
Dan Webb.
what I was going at with that, trying to get my knowledge with the American gun law. Like, I think some of the attacks going on is because people shouldn't, who haven't got guns, the parents haven't locked them up secure enough.
Oh, that's true. Irresponsibility.
Yeah,
Like I
'cause know
said,
in the UK,
we need to have a license to be a parent.
Because I think in the UK, if you can get a shotgun license, it has to be locked up. Otherwise, you get your weapon confiscated and your license revoked.
Also,
Do they
Right,
check that
yeah.
stuff? I mean, regularly? Do they check for that?
it's the police that do the actual permit itself. They come out and check your gun cabinet. They have to the test that they do on it. I've seen the inspector that came around to check my dad's one. It was a case of he was hanging off the cabinet to make sure that it couldn't be pulled off the wall. And it's like as simple as that. It's not a case of, oh, yep, you've got a cabinet, that's fine. It's right, where are your keys kept? Where's this? There's no ammo in the house. There's just a shotgun. You have to go to a specific area to shoot in order to get the ammo.
I think
was
they
it
should.
not after Don Lane they brought in that you weren't allowed to use handguns or own them in the UK?
Well, what
See,
I
it's
was
not the same.
getting
I could
at-
have a loaded shotgun hanging on the wall above my
But as
computer
I
right
said,
now.
I think they should have the same restrictions within crime because I think that's the most popular. I know in the UK it's knife crime. There's not much you can do about bloody knives, But I think like violence with the youth in general. I think if you had tighter restrictions, and like Grady said, have a license to have a kid. I think is
Well,
like.
I'm joking when I say that, by the way.
No, but no, I think that's a serious point though. It's like
You should go
some
parents.
people should not have kids. It's simple as that.
Our
Well, you
society
can't really
propagates this,
stop.
though.
You can't go. Oh no, you can't have a kid. But I think there should be checks like, are you going to be a decent enough parent? Can you raise a child properly?
This
Are you
world we
mentally
have, I think-
Do you
stable
want
enough?
this to end up like Orson Welles' 1983? Because I don't want it to end up like that.
When do you turn
This is
18,
why
Dan?
I'm adopted.
I turn 18 in May.
See, I'm not entirely sure that you'll really be ready for violent video games by then. You know what I mean?
I've been playing violent video games for the past 5 years.
And I don't
Enough
think it's
said.
done you any good.
You seem rather angry, Dan.
And all the language you use is terrible.
Yeah,
And
let it
you
all
can't
out. Come on.
just months.
We're all brothers here.
Did your teachers know you're playing 18 games?
Hold on, this is
Ireland,
turning into
unlike
blackmail.
the UK, does not have a screwed up law system.
Granted. So, going back to the whole, you need a gun cabinet for guns, etc., etc.
Yeah.
We've gone slightly off topic here, but
Yeah.
let's continue because it's getting interesting. I agree with the way that the British government works it, but then I also agree in the way that the American works it, because I believe it is actually one of your amendments where you can arm yourself. Now, that said, and obviously you touched on this a minute ago, Steph, obviously the biggest crime in the UK is knife crime. And there is nothing you can do to control that. But then at the same time, there's nothing you can really do to control any sort of crime. If someone has got an agenda, like Dan said, even a mental issue, in essence, a violent mental issue, it's not hard. For example, to stop a suicide risk in the whisk. I'm not Jonathan Wass. I can't pronounce my R's. To stop a suicide risk in the UK, they don't allow you to have more than 2 boxes of any certain drug. So, for example, paracetamol,
That's not
ibuprofen,
true.
etc. No, they don't.
I got
they're
8
not
boxes
allowed.
of medication.
Was that not from the pharmacy though?
Yeah, but
Yeah, it
that's
was.
there you go. It's over the counter. Slightly
can't-
different story.
Oh, over the counter. Oh, okay, yeah.
if
sorry.
you walk
Get
into your local
in-house.
Tesco's or
Yeah,
you know,
it's only 2 boxes. Max.
yeah, you're allowed
Yeah.
2 boxes of paracetamol or 2 boxes. The fact of the matter is, you could wander into a local shop and buy 3 bottles of bleach if you really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You know, Uncle Fa- and it works the same in essence as if you wanted to commit a murder or a crime. In that essence, you could walk down to your local B&Q and find everything you need in the bloody gardening aisle to kill somebody, clean it up, and dispose of the body. Now, I'm not condoning that you do this, okay, and I'm not condoning that you go and check it out either. But the fact of the matter is, there is
Dan, you're
absolutely
not 18,
nothing
cover your ears.
you can do to stop that sort of crime if it's going to happen. So I think going back to the subject, see how I've looped this round, it's very good. Going back to the initial subject at hand, and that's violence in video games. I forgot what I was going to say completely now.
I just have to
You
imagine
did such a good job looping it back
yourself,
around,
a
too.
kid
Yeah,
going
so-
to B&Q,
yeah.
trying to garden up.
I'll have a chainsaw, 3 bottles of that brick cleaner, and
Some
4
bleach.
4 bin liners, please.
So here's another spin on it, right? In school, what's the general book that I read when I was going? I think it was 3rd year English.
Hungry caterpillar.
But yeah, I've only just progressed.
That's violent, that book.
But Lamb to the Slaughter. Anybody know it?
Sounds like a
Nope.
rock.
I've heard of it.
Right, Lamb to the Slaughter is about a woman who bludgeons to death her husband with a leg of lamb, goes out to the shops, makes her alibi, and then comes back and feeds the lamb to the detectives that are trying to investigate the case, and gets rid of the murder weapon, and gets away with murder. Read that in 3rd year. Now, it's supposed to be about the literature that's in it, but it can be classed as an entertainment stream. It's reading. Could that then be classed as the same as a violent video game?
That's like
I
just
the
watching
fact-
Hannibal.
I would agree with that. Have you ever read The Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
Or sorry, not Silence of the Lambs, The Catcher in the
Sauce.
Rye.
Hannibal.
That's a completely different book.
Yeah, well, listen to where I'm going here. When Chapwell read Catcher in the Rye, he claimed that it forced him to kill John Lennon. In my opinion, that's a bunch of rubbish, because I believe that he incidentally used Catcher in the Rye to escape the death penalty for blaming insanity, when we all really know that he was, mentally
Unstable.
mentally unstable individual who had a fixation on Lennon and had to break it.
Yeah.
So again, it falls back to the individual playing the game.
Because technically, all of us, if violence affected us in the same way that the people that are going about killing people, I'm sitting playing Dying Light, I'm bludgeoning people with pipes. I know they're zombies, but still.
I think it's more controlled in a video game. I'm not gonna go out and kill someone after playing GTA. Like I wouldn't rob a police car in the real world. There's consequences to that. And I think if you're a parent and you know your child can't tell the difference, you need to be at that age to know what the consequences are of your actions. I think that's the right age to introduce them to high-rated games, and I don't think it should be up to anyone apart from the parent who decides that their kid's ready to play it.
Yeah.
Like you could have a 21-year-old who doesn't know the consequences of their actions. They shouldn't be introduced to those games, and only the parent should decide that.
I agree there, yeah.
Because there's not the image of 18-year-olds. That's the way I believe, and it's like, with Call of Duty, that's mainly an 18. If someone's grown up in a war-torn country, Call of Duty be tame to them. Whereas you grow up in a Christian lifestyle, it might seem pretty violent. So
Yeah.
it's...
So I think that's the kind of nail on the head with that one. Then it's a case of it all depends on what kind of lifestyle that you've lived and whether or not your parents have taught you what's right and wrong.
Correct. Yeah, in short, yeah.
Before even touching a game.
In short, I think that wraps that one up quite nicely. So, next topic this week is recently released Halo 5 trailers. Now, they did two trailers.
Ow!
I'm sorry.
My ears are bleeding.
So, yeah, they released two different trailers. One showing who seems to be the new Spartan in the story. Spartan Locke. If anyone's watched Nightfall, they'll know who he is. And then obviously the long-running protagonist within the series, the Master Chief.
Who is the Master Chief?
It's John. Spartan 117. We're not going to do this crap because that's enough on the internet already. So, anyway, what did you guys think to the trailers?
Amazing.
I want Halo 5 now.
I love them.
Excellent.
And I'm doing the troll about Halo being delayed for a year because GameStop messed up my pre-order.
Sick. You should be ashamed of yourself.
And then GameStop messed up my pre-order, so I'm ordering from America now.
So we've got the two trailers that have launched, but has anybody else been watching Hunt the Truth?
I have.
I had a small look.
Anybody that's listening that's not actually been on huntthetruth.tumblr.com, go to it. There is interviews going to be happening sort of every Sunday, and some of the information that you get in it links into the books, it links into the games. Dan can't comment on this because he's not read the books, but
It's embarrassing.
This again.
But overall, I cannot recommend it enough to go just read the whole website, listen to the interview clips, and then watch the trailers. There is the bullet trailer, then there's the two trailers that we just talked about there.
Really, it's genius marketing.
Absolutely.
It started so far in advance. You had beta last year also that helped with that. But then you've got Master Chief in the situation that no Halo fan wants to see him in. You know what I mean? And then this alternative version, something about two stories. I don't know, the intrigue on it's awesome. I've been on Hunt the Truth quite a bit myself, and I like the direction they're going with it. And I'm impressed that as old a franchise as Halo is, they've managed to keep it interesting the entire time. And I'm always more excited for the next game than I was the last game, and I can't wait.
The only reason why I went with Xbox was down to Halo.
I wouldn't, I don't know if I'd even be playing games if it hadn't been for Halo. I remember the original, whatever convention it was, when it was going to be on Apple PC, and I paid attention to that. And when I found out that it was coming to the original Xbox and it was going to be exclusive, that's the reason I bought an Xbox, and that's the reason I still play on Xbox today.
Nice.
That said, some of the games were available on PC 1 and 2, I think, and now this Halo Online thing in Russia, I'd still think I'd stick with the console version, even if Halo 5 was to come to PC.
Wrong country to go to.
I used to be a PC gamer, and I just like the simplisticness of the controller. It's easy, you're not hunched over the keyboard. Maybe it's just my game style, but I now enjoy sitting with console, and it's also good as well, not having to use TeamSpeak. It's actually all within the computer itself.
It's not just that, too. It's there's a certain play style associated with the controller that you adopt, the other players adopt, that I find way more rewarding than playing against mouse and keyboard guys.
No, I'm really looking forward to Halo 5. It'll be interesting. The question is Cortana going to be alive, or is she actually truly dead?
I have a theory on that. But you remember at the end of Spartan, Halsey claimed revenge on the UNSC after she had her arm shot off.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, what if Halsey got in contact with the chief and made like a deal that if he worked with her to take down the UNSC, she would bring back Cortana, memories and all?
I got a question for you, Dan.
Okay.
That elite that she's hanging out with in that last scene, do you know who that?
He was the leader of the Diadact, I think, wasn't it?
How did he get to that point, Dan?
Hmm?
How did he get to that point?
How did he get to that position, you mean?
Yeah.
You can explain that to me.
If you read the books, you'd know. This is
I knew you'd
embarrassing.
say that.
But
It's crazy. You can't have theories. You haven't read the books.
I'm not a reader.
You've read Mass Effect. That's horrible stuff too.
Shut up, Grady.
Oi!
I'm actually nice to you, but do not insult my head.
yeah, N7 Steph over there.
When she changed her name, I think she's kind of losing interest in it a little bit.
True.
What?
She's become a Halo fan. She's gonna
I've
nick
always been a
herself.
Halo fan, but
As
Mass
she
Effect is
should
like
be.
the god.
It's a horrible
And
game.
Halo's just like Jesus. It is Easter, so you know, you've got to have some Christianity in there. And I did put my hands in quotation marks, I said that.
And all the Facebook activists are telling me how dumb it is to celebrate. That's for sure.
Hey, it's chocolate day for me.
I love it. Everybody with a perspective is an
weekend.
activist on Facebook. I don't
Absolutely.
care.
Anyhow, Luke, what's your opinion then on Halo 5 trailers?
Well, when it comes to me and Halo 5, I mean, I'm a Halo fan, but I wouldn't say that I'm a massive Halo fan. I mean, the trailers brought a whole new concept to what we can expect from the game. I thought that, you know, it is a nice little spin, a tale of two stories, so to speak. So, you know, I think that give it time, and when more comes out, I think more theories, and like Grady said, actually, in regards to this, will come out with their different theories, whether or not they have or have not read the books. I would like to point out I've read the first one. I've read the Fall of Reach. That's it. I haven't read the rest because I don't read very often.
That's fine. It's better than done.
You know, I've read 2 of the Gears books as well. So you know, I've read odds and ends of differences. But in the same essence, I am looking forward to the game. I won't be buying it. I will be renting it because I didn't enjoy the multiplayer as much as I have in previous ones. I didn't come around to playing with you guys quite near the end of the beta, and I actually enjoyed it that day when we all played together. That was quite good fun. But I found most of the time on the beta I was playing by myself, which in turn made the game quite boring. I think it is definitely a teamwork game this time.
I do think there was multiplayer games like you need to be with other people, otherwise it's like boring.
Yeah.
Wait, you said multiplayer game or a teamwork game this time. That wasn't saying that Halo was a teamwork game before, was it?
No. What I'm saying more to the point is,
Okay.
with the last one,
Objection.
I could happily play the last one by myself. That wouldn't affect me in any way. You know, I'd have a good few hours playing. With the beta, I found it very hard to get going, even for an hour, playing by myself with random people.
Could that have just been because of the beta style rather than getting all the different modes that were available?
I mean, it could have been, yeah, but the fact of the matter is, I just couldn't get into it. I just found it hard to get into until I started playing with other people.
I went back and forth on it. Yeah, I really liked it, and I got irritated, and I liked it again, I got irritated. Eventually, I decided that I was pretty happy with it. I'm
Grady,
looking forward to the
what
tweaks
rage
they've
you?
announced. I do not rage. Stop
Oh,
stop
Grady
interrupting me.
raged,
I'll show
didn't
you
you?
rage.
You do rage, you bloody noobs.
Jeez. The post-beta announcements, they made different things every week to improve on it based on feedback. I like all of that, and I think when it comes out, it's going to be way better than the beta, and I really enjoyed the beta.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, a lot of people have been hammering down on 343, but with them actually turning around and going, right, we're actually listening to our fans and what they're saying about Halo 5. Let's make some of the tweaks, but keep the things that were really good. You can't fault a game company for doing that.
See, I've got to agree there. A lot of people do bash 343, but I think they've done a fantastic job. They didn't have to bring us a Master Chief Collection. The initial idea was just to bring us Halo 2 Anniversary, which I think everyone would have been pleased with. But they decided, you know, halfway through their development process, they went, you know what, scrap this, we're going to do them all. We're going to boost them all, we're going to stick them all on one console, and we're going to sell it as a big collection. And I'm grateful they did that. Granted,
Yeah.
I've still not been able to play a full online game properly yet, because for some reason I keep getting kicked out at random intervals.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's my internet or if it's my Xbox, but I have recently uninstalled and reinstalled the game with the newest update. So I'm hoping if I put it in at some point, it's going to work properly. I'll just say, but in essence, I think 343 done an absolutely cracking job. I think they do listen to the fans, and they have done updates to make playable. They started bringing in the new ranked playlist on Master Chief Collection. So as a company, I really rate 343.
I think the only people who don't like them were the ones who love Bungie and are Bungie fanboys.
And now
You
play
can't-
Destiny.
Yeah, but you know,
Look where
I
that
think those
led.
are the people. I do think those are the people who are bashing 343 because as a game company, you're going to listen to fans and improve what the fans saying. You cannot floor the company. You wouldn't see EA into the fans. You know,
I've seen you listen to fans.
yeah, exactly. Just,
EA don't listen to anything.
Probably.
Look at their stuff.
Yes,
What's best about 343 is the way they've respected the lore. They've
Yeah.
really worked with the books to make the games that, whereas Bungie, I mean, they had like a Halo team that worked with the writers to write the novels, and then the game would come out and they would still break the canon. You know, not that I didn't love the games, because I think their level design was really good. I think their level design was better than the level design in Halo 4.
well done,
That's done and
343.
dusted.
See, I liked Halo 4 as a final footnote. I liked Halo 4, but I think some of the multiplayer parts they brought in didn't quite match the Halo playstyle, and I think at times could make the game quite unfair for the opposition.
It felt like Call of Duty.
I don't
I
think
wouldn't
it felt
go
like
that
Call of Duty at
far.
all.
No, it definitely didn't feel like Call of Duty. It felt like Halo, but with a twist, which the twist wasn't necessarily a good thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, whenever you got, say, for example, one of the little supply drops that dropped out, a guy that was on your team and it was absolutely amazing, you were like, yeah, we're going to batter him, and then when the enemy got it, you went, oh, do you know what? This. Yes, I
No,
swore.
I really thought it played well. I don't like they took maps or guns off the map, because I think that took away from map control, which is really a key part of Halo.
Yeah.
But it still had teamwork, coordination, precision fire, the rallying, the falling back. You know, it still played like Halo, and it's still probably either number 2 or maybe even number 1 my favorite Halo to just get on and play. Maybe second only to the Halo 2 anniversary, because I really like the way that played.
I've got to be honest, going on about map control, I think that's what killed the Gears series with Judgment. I enjoyed the fact that in that game you started with a Lancer or Hammerburst shotgun, or if you're going on to Gears 3, you could start with the sawn off, and then the map had your control points, so the big weapons, and you'd go and get your power weapons. And with Gears of War Judgment, they tried to turn it COD style. You start with either a shotgun or a Lancer and a pistol, plus 1 grenade, and it didn't feel the same. And I think that's one thing that developers need to look at, and I think 343 are doing. They are looking at the fact that you can add or take away too much from it, it won't be the same. So with 343, they're looking at Halo and going, okay, well, we could add this, like for example with the mantling, a great little addition to the game. No more running and just bumping your abdomen into a random wall when you jump up. So that's a little tweak they've done, but at the same time, they need not take too much away. Like I think they've integrated with the couple of maps I played on the beta. They've integrated the map control through power weapons quite well.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that because I think when you've got the customization of your weapons and things, you can, once you're a more experienced player, you can run riot with a map if you've got everything nailed down. You know exactly what gun to use, where to sit on that map as well. Whereas when you have the power weapons, it's all by chance and speed, depending on who's quicker at getting there and who's got a better shot at the same time.
No, I agree. I think that's a good point to wrap that subject up. So that's all we've got time for this week, and I'd just like to thank Dan, Grady, Steph, and Paul for coming along again this week, or well, in Grady's case, coming along at all this week.
And
And-
Stale
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
Stale,
Stale was here
And
briefly.
Oh yeah, and Stale as well. Sorry, Stale.
you left us early.
Yeah, he disappeared about an hour ago.
They never winter.
But yeah, so we'd like to invite you all to come and join us again next week when we'll be discussing a few comic book topics, such things as Miss Marvel, and maybe even Daredevil. What else was I going to do? The Walking Dead. That was one we were going to discuss this week, but never got the
We're
time.
not going to
for.
talk about that, are we?
Why?
Oh, it's okay, Sheriff. Deputy
Yeah,
Okay,
Trustee.
Rick.
So yeah, in short, we're gonna discuss a few more different topics next week.
Not
Obviously,
just gaming.
yeah, not just getting all sort of. Obviously, we'll still be hunting the truth Halo-wise, and then we hopefully will have some cool new news to bring to you in the gaming world. So hopefully we'll see you back again next week. So big thanks from me and goodbye, and I'll let you guys sign yourselves off.
Thanks very much for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening. Good night.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
I hope you had a good holiday.